thoughts on the red-white game?
I thought it went really well. We wanted to come out of there healthy. We wanted to compete. We wanted to show our fans what we've been working on, and I wish the weather would have been a little bit nicer, but you know what? That's what we might have played in that. So it was good that we got a little work in that, and I was really proud of our guys. I thought they came out ready to go. Some things we got to clean up from a game weekend standpoint, but overall, I thought it was really, really good.
What sort of things?
Just up at the hotel, there's certain things that we do the night before the game. Just guys didn't really understand what we were trying to do, and but those are all things that they'll learn. That's why we had a dress rehearsal for the spring game.
What do you think of quarterback play through spring, and can you go into next season with those two competing? I mean, where do you feel like you are at quarterback?
I feel like those guys have done a really good job, every single one of them. I mean, at times, you have a guy do really, really well, have a really good day, and then at times you have that same guy, he'll kind of not have as good a day. And the thing I'm really preaching to those guys right now is who's going to be the most consistent, who's going to go out there and do the things we're asking them to do day in, day out, and give us the best chance to win. So I'm really happy with those guys. They've done everything we've asked them to do, and look forward to going into the summer now and getting some more things in and really working extremely hard this summer.
What does Cole and Ty both specifically individually have to work on to improve this summer?
They both just got to keep working, doing what they're doing. A lot of it's just going fast. We're just a different tempo of our style of offense. That's the main thing. It's just getting the call, understanding where their pre-snap read is, and then snapping the ball, getting their eyes on their post-snap read. So they're doing a really good job. I think they're both taking some ownership and really studying the playbook hard and really knowing what other positions they're supposed to do on every play. And I think that's what the quarterback's supposed to do. And those guys, again, they're working hard, and I expect a good summer out of them as well.
Chad said you guys are relying on the players obviously lead the summer workouts. Who have emerged at various positions on offense as the leaders, the guys you'd count on to sort of take control in the summer? Yeah, well,
we're pushing a lot of them to be leaders. The guys that we feel like that have kind of taken the ownership, or Ty and Cole. At tight end position, I think Austin Cantrell is a guy that's he's very well respected among his teammates. And he's taken a little bit more of a vocal role. We're trying to push him out of that comfort zone of being kind of quiet leader and being a little bit more vocal. At receiver, you see guys like Jonathan Nance and LaMichael Petway. They're kind of stepping up, trying to lead the way. Running backs, you have a great stable of running backs, and I think for the most part, it's kind of a running back by committee. I think all those guys do a really, really good job. I think they listen to each other and they feed off each other, doing really, really well. There's no doubt on our offensive line that Yelda is the guy, the vocal guy that gets everybody going whenever when they need to get going. So again, we're trying to push a lot more guys to get out of their comfort zone a little bit more and lead more vocally.
Pretty stripped away on offense, I guess. No end arounds and reverses and stuff like that. Yeah. That's a pretty big part of this offense, though.
Well, I didn't want to make Chief mad at me, man. Got to keep Chief on my good side. But no, it was, we didn't want to do a whole lot. Some stuff we had worked on all spring, we didn't run that. We wanted to stay very basic and very day one, day two install. And that's really about all we called. So. We didn't want to show a whole lot, but we wanted also to give our guys plays that we felt like they could go out and execute. And that was by design, not to show a whole lot, just show the kind of the day one, day two install.
In terms of the tempo, how close was Saturday to where you guys would want to be, say, in the fall?
Oh man, I would say about 60 mile an hour when we want to be 100. It wasn't quite there. That's one thing, coming out of spring, told Coach and in the staff meeting, we really got to work that. They've really got to continue to work that on their own this summer. They're really stressing to them. The offensive line's got to find the ball, line up, and the receivers got to get the call quicker, and they got to line up quicker as well. So sometimes quarterbacks want to snap it, and he's waiting. And, again, I think it's just a new offense. It's new signals. It's all that the receivers are having to find the signal, find who the signal guy is, the live guy, get the call, get lined up. And once they learn that, I think it's going to play a lot faster. But I would say it's about 60% of how fast we really want to go.
Can you get those extra 40 miles an hour by the time you
I think so. I think now that we're going into summer, those guys are going to go do it on their own. They'll have a really good summer with that. Again, that's a huge emphasis for us. So they're going to really have to do that a lot this summer. And then I think by fall camp, we'll be a little bit faster than by game one. We'll be ready to go.
What were the big highlights for you? Like specifically, what was good about spring?
About spring, oh man. To be honest with you, I was really, really pleased with what we have on the roster at running back. I'm really, really pleased with where we're at with Devwad, Chase, TJ, Malik. He came a long way. KJ has shown some flashes. So we, again, just working those guys this summer, getting them in the third and fourth quarter program, what we call it, and cutting some weight, getting faster, getting quicker. Is going to do nothing but help those guys. But I was very, very pleased with what we have at running back.
A lot of times coordinators aren't asked to do a lot of recruiting, but you're a young guy, and Chad Moore says if you can't recruit, you can't be around here. Right. Looking forward to jumping into
I love it. Yeah, I can't wait. I love Northwest Arkansas. It's like home to me, honestly. And, but I can't wait to get on the road and see some of these guys work and evaluate some guys at practice and stuff like that. Man, I can't wait. Like Coach says, man, you got to go get it done no matter if you're at Arkansas or wherever. It's all about recruiting, and we understand that. Everybody at this level has great schemes and X's and O's. It's got about the Jimmies and the Joes. So we got to go get those guys and go get the guys that we think that fit our offense the best.
Coach, you were mic'd up. How'd that go?
Huh?
You were mic'd up. How did that go?
Well, it wasn't mic'd up. I was actually getting interviewed during calling plays, and man, that was pretty hard. I'm gonna be honest with you. That was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, is call a play. I had to step back from the camera, so the camera didn't pick up the play, and then kind of explain it while the play is going on and trying to talk it through. I don't know if I have a future in sports broadcasting if this doesn't work out, but it was a lot of fun to get around those guys and be on the SEC network and kind of just tell them a little bit about what we were doing.
Did you go back and listen to it? Anybody critiqued you?
Nobody's critiqued me yet, so I'm open for any critiques. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Do you foresee it as a realistic possibility that your two incoming quarterbacks would compete to play right away?
Well, we're not going to name a starter, so the job's going to be wide open. And, if those guys come in and they're picking up the offense and they're doing the right things, they'll compete for the job just like everybody else. It's very realistic. I mean, we had Deshaun Watson. He played a lot as a true freshman, took over about game 4 or 5 as a starter. So, it's very realistic. It's just a matter of those guys want to come in and put the work in that these other guys have all spring, because in reality those guys are a little bit behind. But I think they'll be able to pick it up just as quick as these other guys do.
Do you have a lot of contact with those guys between signing and when they would arrive to kind of get them maybe more ready?
Yeah, we some NCAA rules won't allow you to do a whole lot with them, but we do stay in contact on the phone. We're able to try to talk to them a little bit and just kind of tell them, hey, you need to be watching what we're doing and trying to pick up certain things. But the NCAA, with certain rules they have, doesn't allow you to do a whole lot that we would like to do. It's kind of interesting, when you're a prospect. You can sit in on meetings and do all that, but when you finally sign, you can't sit on meetings until you get here. So that's kind of one of those weird rules. But we do stay in contact with Connor and John Stephen a lot, and they're looking forward to getting here. They're chomping at the bit.
Can they have a playbook and stuff like that?
No, they can't have all that kind of stuff. So we have to just try to talk them through certain things and have them just watch what we're doing.
Did you talk to Connor? He came out the other day and just basically said, hey, don't draft me because I'm going to Arkansas. Did you talk to him before?
I didn't talk to him before, but I sure sent him a message after, and just told him that we were really excited to have him. To be honest with you, I was really worried that he was going to be drafted and go on, and we would never see him. I was really worried about that, and for him to come out and the statement he made really shows his love for the Razorbacks, and can't wait to get him here and work with him. But I was very, I sent him a long text, and man, really can't wait to coach you. Glad you're coming, because now he's going to be locked in for 3 years now. So that's good that we're going to get him, and I can't wait for him to get here.
At what point can they go to play?
Whenever they get on campus, yeah. Whenever they get on campus, yeah. So summer 1, they'll be provided with all that, and they'll get in our meetings and everything. So as soon as they get to school, so
after a spring under your belt, what areas do you feel like you need to address in recruiting?
I still think we got to get some speed. I think that there's guys again that show some glimpses, and even guys like Jared Cornelius, who's played a lot of football around here, who's been hurt. He came out, was getting some reps there towards the end of spring, and would show glimpses of, man, that guy's really good. But again, he's just coming off of an injury. But we got to get some speed. I think a lot of that will be a third and fourth quarter program with Coach True and Coach Rhett and those guys, but we got to go get guys that fit us and fit what we do, and I guess y'all see who pretty soon we go after.
Did you feel like you got any clarity out of the receiver spots? There's just with so many guys there, some guys who really rose up and are going to be.
Yeah. There's certain guys. I mean, we feel like we know who is going to be in the starting rotation. But again, we've got a long way to go. I mean, we've got a long way to go. A lot of work to do at that position, and even from a quarterback position, throwing the football, we got to get a lot better in the passing game. But I think we got some guys that we can go win with. They got to get a lot better. To me, really working on mastering their craft and catching deep balls and catching 50-50 balls. I think you saw a little bit out in the spring. We struggled a little bit doing that. But those 50-50 balls are crucial for us. And when you get one-on-one coverage out there, you got to win. So we're always going to look for the guy that can help us win those 50-50 balls and win the one-on-one matchups.
When you look at your playbook, about how much do you think you have installed so far?
About 35-40%. I mean, we really try to keep it as simple as possible. We try to really install hard 3 days of install. We really stressed those guys in the first 3 days and then kind of really tapered off and really got it to where we tried to get really good at our base stuff. And I think we were able to do that. But, again, I tell them all the time, I stress to them all the time, we can only put in so much that you guys can understand. I mean, we as coaches understand it, but if they don't understand it, we can't run it. So it's really just depending on how our guys really study and how they really develop by themselves this summer and through meetings and all that kind of stuff.
When you got here, you expressed how excited you were with the tight end group. Mm-hmm. Now that you've gone through the spring, what are your thoughts on that group as a whole?
Yeah, I think those guys have done a really good job. I think we've got some really good threats down the field. You saw C.J. O'Grady catch 2 touchdowns the other day at the spring game, and you see some guys that do a really good job in the run game. What we've got to strain those guys is if you're a really good deep threat passing-wise, we got to get you on the same level in the run game, and vice versa. If you're a really good run blocker, we got to get your route running skills a little bit better. But been very pleased with that group. We're going to have to go recruit some guys to come in here after these guys leave that can keep that going. Because again, I've said it, this offense revolves around the tight end. And if you don't have a good tight end, there's a lot of things that we have to do differently that we don't want to have to do. So that position is very, very important to us, and look forward to getting back around those guys this summer.
Chad said something, I think like 52% of the targets had gone to tight ends early in spring.
Yeah.
Do you guys track that throughout, and do you know what that number would have been at the close of it?
Yeah, I don't know the exact number towards the end. I do know that it was a lot to the tight end. There were some things we were doing in the past we were using a receiver instead of a tight end, and I really like the bigger bodies that we have to do those things. So a lot of what we were doing was kind of new for us as coaches, because the past couple of years we've been using a receiver. Well, now we're using those big body tight ends to run certain routes and get those targets that a Trey Quinn last year led the country with. And so now those targets are going to the tight ends.
So with the tight ends that you are recruiting, I mean, the previous staff was Bielema's favorite player was the tight end.
Yep.
So I think a lot of people maybe thought, okay, man, maybe Arkansas is not going to use them. In recruiting, have you seen that people are realizing that now, though, through spring, tight ends can be very successful?
Yeah, well, I hope so, because those guys have caught a lot of touchdowns. I think as a group, they've caught more touchdowns than the receivers or the running backs, out of the backfield. So I would hope so. I would hope that the top tight ends in the country would want to come here, because again, that's what it revolves around. I mean, we've got to have that guy, and we can't just have one. We got to have 3 or 4, and that's what excited me about when we first got here to Arkansas. Is I knew guys like Jeremy Patton. We recruited that guy. We knew we didn't have a chance, but we tried anyway. And I heard of C.J. O'Grady and Austin Cantrell and those guys. So, we got to have 3 or 4 guys that can really, really play. So really looking forward to it. I mean, if I'm the number 1 tight end or top tight ends in the country, I'm coming here.
1 or 2 more for Coach.
Tyson Morris, kind of before the spring, nobody really knew about him, but he was getting some run with the 1 and the 2s. What has he done this spring to earn that?
He's been more consistent than some other guys. He's made some plays when the ball has when his number's been called. Been very pleased with Tyson. An unbelievable kid. Great to be around. He's got to work on some break points and transitioning in and out of his cuts at the top of his routes. But other than that, man, he's given us everything he's got. He's really studied it. He really knows what he's doing out there. So I've been very, very pleased with him.
George Jones is a guy that a lot of fans were excited about, but hadn't necessarily got as many reps as people may have expected. What does he need to work on to move his way up the depth chart?
Yeah, he's working. He's just got to pick the offense up a little bit quicker. That was the thing that we're going to talk and have our player exit interviews here pretty soon. But that's one thing we're going to talk about, man, is just we want him to learn all the positions, because if you know all the positions, then you got a chance to play more, and we tried to give him one this spring and left him there. I think he was out of position, honestly, and so we're going to try to move him around a little bit this summer and see if he can't learn another position, and so we can utilize him a little bit better. That's one thing me and Coach Stepp talked about, is we got to try to utilize his speed, but also we got to get a little bit more out of Jordan as well.
Do you see any of the true freshmen coming in the next couple of months, particularly at quarterback, competing for time right away?
They're all going to have a chance to compete. That's what I just told this guy a second ago, is, they're all going to have a chance. We're not naming a quarterback starter for a reason. We're going to try to let those guys come in and compete, and let those other guys that have been here compete some more, and because competition brings out the best in everybody. And so we're going to leave it open and see what they do when they come in.